Imagine flying across the globe, traversing continents and oceans, yet there's one vast, populated region that most commercial airlines deliberately steer clear of. A place so immense and geographically significant, it's often called the roof of the world. Why do these modern marvels of engineering, designed to conquer the skies, avoid the majestic expanse of Tibet? The primary reason lies in its sheer elevation. The Tibetan Plateau, an area roughly the size of Western Europe, boasts an average altitude of over 14,000 feet, with many peaks soaring well above 20,000 feet. This isn't just high ground, it's a colossal landmass that pushes the very limits of safe commercial flight operations. Commercial airliners typically cruise at altitudes between 30,000 and 40,000 feet, where the air is thin and fuel efficient. Inside the cabin, the air is pressurized to simulate an altitude of around 6,000 to 8,000 feet. However, if a sudden depressurization occurs, the aircraft must descend rapidly to an altitude where passengers can breathe safely without supplemental oxygen, ideally below 10,000 feet. Over Tibet, this safe altitude is often below the actual ground level. This brings us to the critical issue of emergency landings. Should an engine fail or a medical emergency arise, pilots need options. The Tibetan Plateau offers very few suitable airfields capable of handling large commercial jets, and those that exist are often at high altitudes themselves, posing further operational challenges. The terrain is rugged, remote, and unforgiving, making an emergency descent or landing incredibly risky. In the event of a depressurization, an aircraft is designed to perform an emergency drift down to a breathable altitude. Over most parts of the world, this means descending to around 10,000 feet. Over Tibet, however, the minimum safe altitude for such a maneuver might still be above 15,000 feet, which is too high for prolonged human exposure without oxygen. While emergency oxygen masks deploy, they only provide a limited supply, typically 15 to 20 minutes, which might not be enough time to reach a safe lower altitude or a suitable diversion airport. Beyond the altitude, the vast mountain ranges themselves present formidable obstacles. Turbulent air currents, unpredictable weather patterns, and the sheer lack of visual references make navigation treacherous. Flying over such extreme terrain demands constant vigilance and leaves little margin for error, especially when considering the limited radar coverage and communication infrastructure in the region. Aviation regulations are stringent for good reason. International aviation authorities, including the FAA and ESA, impose specific rules for flights over high-altitude remote areas. These often require aircraft to carry extra oxygen, have more robust communication systems, and adhere to higher minimum flight altitudes, which can sometimes be impractical or impossible over the highest parts of Tibet. Economic considerations also play a role. While a direct route might seem shorter on a map, the operational requirements for flying over Tibet, such as carrying extra fuel for potential diversions, adhering to higher minimum safe altitudes, and the increased wear and tear on engines due to higher